Everybody, it is Freekbass and welcome to Bass Talk with Freekbass. I am here each week, Wednesdays normally at 9 p.m. Eastern Time live, and we talk everything, bass breakdowns, bass lines, unboxing. I got a big unboxing happening on next week's show, which I'll talk to you about in a little bit. But anything bass guitar related, that's what we were here for. If you remember last week, I did kind of a Q&A asking people, like, what kind of things would they be, would you like me to talk about on future episodes of Bass Talk with Freekbass? And I got a lot of people, both with private DMs and also left in different comments and different areas, some over on Twitter, some at YouTube, and some at the Facebook page, where asking about some more thumping and plucking exercises. So I love making these up. I can do these all day long, and I think they're so helpful. Even if you don't ultimately want to be like practice thumping and plucking, you can do a lot of these even finger style too, and I'll show you what I talk about here in a minute. So, but what I did is I kind of came up with this groove that, a lot of times when you're thumping and plucking, with the thumping part, it's always easier to thump on the E string because there's no other string back that direction, right? Same with the counter goes for with plucking. It's very easier to pluck on the G string because there's no other string this way. So it starts getting a little tricky when you get into those in-between strings, like the D's and the A's and stuff like that if you're playing a 4-string bass. So I came up with this exercise mostly focused on the plucking side of things. We've talked a lot about thumping in a lot of episodes semi-recently, which, by the way, they're always archived, whether you're at YouTube or you're over at Facebook, wherever you watch. You can always just scroll down if you're on Facebook, or just look at the Bass Talk series on YouTube. And by the way, if you're on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. That really helps out a lot. And if you're over at Facebook, please hit your share button. That really means a lot to do that. So I thought this week I would really kind of I came up with a little exercise for the plucking side of things for that in-between string thing. And that's going to be specifically on the D string, okay? So you kind of heard me playing the groove when we started, and we're going to kind of base it off of that. I'm going to kind of show you the way I'm doing it, show you an easier way to do it, and also just a few different approaches to the same kind of groove, basically. So let me play this groove one more time. All right, so what I'm doing, so it's the rhythm, it's kind of like a little syncopated rhythm, boom, bop, 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 almost like a horn line. I always do a lot of comparisons to other instruments here, whether it be, obviously drums are probably the main one, comparing drums to bass and drums together, but in terms of phrasing, a lot of times I like to use horn phrasing, and that really it really kind of enhances the bass lines that I do. So that's kind of what this is. It's like a horn going bum 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 bop, like that. Could be a drum rhythm too, bop 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 bop. And so what we have, so what I'm doing, I'm thumping on the E string on the 5th fret. This is all in A, by the way, A minor. And then, and I'm plucking 5 on, this is on the D string, 5, 5, 5, 5, 7, G, 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 A, flat 7, back to octave or tonic. So that's what we're doing there. We're just going from the root, the 7th, and the octave. And so technically, you know, I talk about trying to keep things simple. You're only really playing 2 notes. I mean, you're playing the root, the octave, which is, I mean, I guess you could say it's technically really 3 notes, but in terms of the like notes, you're just playing an A and a G. And but the fact is, we're doing this. The G is on the D string, so you gotta practice how to get into that middle, you know, inside of that, you know, get your index finger underneath. And then a quick little review of that, I have a ton of videos on plucking and stuff here, but just remember, you know, you kind of think of your index finger almost like a hook. Someone sticks it on your hand right there, right? And you're not physically ever going like this. It's almost kind of like it's an like extra appendage on there, and you're just pulling out. And I always come from the school, I call it thumping and plucking. I know a lot of people call it slap bass, but I'm kind of from more the thumping and plucking school in terms of mentally the way I think of it. I mean, I'm really yanking on that string pretty hard. So what you would do, again, without any kind of drum beat, just if you're just playing along with it, you're thumping the 5th fret on the E, then you're doing that on the D. So then you kind of put that as a little groove. 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4, A, G, 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 A. 2, 3, 4, 1, G, 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 A. And if you're just starting out, you could just kind of just do a back and forth thing too, not even with the rhythmic side of it, just. That's a good little exercise too. Like a thump on the 5, pluck on the 5. Thump on the 5 on E, pluck on the 5 on D. Just back and forth. And you could also do it with the octave. 5, 7. Very, very simple. If you're just starting out, that might be a way to start. But I would really focus on the plucking side. Like if you're not getting a great, you know, if you're just a beginner, that is, and you're like, I'm just not getting a real good thump tone right here. A lot of videos about that too as well. But I would focus more on the plucking side. And again, you can see I am, again, I'm physically, I'm giving that string a yank. And I think when you pluck it harder, it really, it just makes the tone better. It brings out the note, you know, no matter what style of technique we're doing, it all comes down to the notes we're playing. It's not about the technique. It's like we were trying to, you know, so a lot of times you hear people do like thumping and plucking sometimes and slap bass, and you hear the percussive aspect of it, but you're not necessarily hearing the notes all the time. And the note is always the most important thing. So you want to make sure you get that note really. So that if you want to go super, super beginner style, just take this out of it and just literally practice plucking that 5th fret on the D string, or getting a good tone. You can just go back and forth between 5 and 7. Like that type thing, you know. But again, the original bass line I had, the original groove I had, that ba 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 ba. 5, 5, 5, pluck, pluck, 7. One more time with the drums. I'm throwing a couple little extra notes in there, just give it a little groove. And there it is, very simple. Just really focus on that plucking. bop, 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 bop. Get that rhythm in your head. Thump, pluck, pluck, thump, thump, pluck. Just make and put a 3, 4, some kind of timekeeping device on. Metronome. 4. 1, 2. You got a little space. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. And there you go. And that's it. It's a really good exercise. It's pretty funky. You got a little groove going with you too as well. And whether you're a beginner or you've been playing for a long time, this would be a good one for you to kind of dive into there all the way across. All right. So that's it for this week. Make sure you join me every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time over at Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Freekbass. All these crazy instruments right here. I'm creating grooves live right in front of you, and we are all participating together. I'm going to be doing Saturdays for at least the next few Saturdays until I go on tour in a couple weeks. Saturdays at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're more of an afternoon person, that's at twitch.tv/Freekbass. That's 5 p.m. And then, of course, at 9 p.m. on Saturday nights, don't forget, right here at Facebook, Saturday Night Chit Chat with Freekbass, too, as well, and different music interview each week. So everybody have an amazing week, and keep thumping away. Don't forget, next week, I'm going to be doing a super cool unboxing video. You're not going to want to miss that. I might have to move the time around next week, but I will do a posting